Ragnarok Origin Classic is launching in America, and I'm sure our fellow adventurers in the West are excited to get their hands on the game. ROOC America has published job role introductions that showcase the classes you can enjoy, but what if I told you that the best class depends entirely on whether you want to grind, PvP, or just chill? I'm here to validate that and give you a more in-depth overview of the actual standing of these job roles as a veteran player from Asia. I've looked at their job introductions for each role, and I gotta say, these are very generic job roles that you typically see in MMO games. For example, as we all know, the Knight class is typically the frontliner, but in ROOC's case, it's hard to be a frontliner if you're not a tank. You know what I'm saying? Without further ado, let's look at the job role list from the ROOC America Facebook channel. I'm gonna rank them from the least used to the most used classes. You might disagree with my 6th ranked class. The Dorem class is a very versatile class as it can provide support, physical builds, and magic builds for DPS. Although most players use the physical build, it also provides strong AoE DPS. One of the best things about Dorem is its race. Being a brute and small-sized class gives it an advantage as it can naturally avoid enemies using cards that are designed for medium-sized and demi-human targets. I'm not really a fan of Dorem, and based on my observations, I rarely encounter this class on the battlefield. So, if you want to explore something exotic, you can definitely try this class. Lord Knights deal high damage as well, although in my server, they mainly use the Clashing Spiral build, which deals high burst damage and is perfect for both PvP and PvE. This class is a bit harder to build because of its weapon penalties. Two-handed swords deal only 75% damage to medium-sized enemies, which technically makes them less optimized for PvP since most players are medium-sized. Because of this, the bash and crit builds are not fully maximized. For two-handed spears, the Clashing Spiral build also suffers from the same 75% damage penalty against medium-sized enemies. However, the advantage of Clashing Spiral is that the skill ignores damage size penalties, making it the only Lord Knight build that is ideal for PvP fights. This is unless you have a Drake MVP card, which allows weapons to ignore damage size penalties. You may have to wait for the Season 3 weapon build, where the developers improve the build setup for Lord Knights. Champion, in my opinion, can also be classified as a burst DPS class. Both the Asura and Finger Offensive builds are the most commonly used builds. If you enjoy dealing one-hit KOs, I think you'll enjoy the Asura build. However, the cooldown is very long, and the respawn time of enemies is fast, which makes this build better suited for specific scenarios, such as bursting down enemy supports and leaving their team without proper support. Finger Offensive is mostly used in PvP, as it also has a burst damage nature while having a faster cooldown. This makes it more ideal for team fights. Next are the support classes such as High Priest and performer classes, the Minstrel and Gypsy. These classes fit really well in random party groups. They are in high demand since most players are aiming for DPS classes. I also 100% agree with these gameplay tips. In a nutshell, these classes thrive in group play. However, the downside is that you become party dependent, especially in PvP and dungeon runs. Although these classes have PvE presets that are perfect for farming, their true potential shines when playing with a group. Speaking of farming, Monster Research gives a lot of great stats for your progression. Most players turn a blind eye to this because honestly, who has the time to do it? With LDCloud, you have a digital phone that can run your games 24/7. This means you can farm your character and leave it there online without worrying about overheating your device. You literally just leave it farming in your cloud phone. The game may have offline farming, but it's limited to only a few hours. Plus, Monster Research is best done with a party for faster progression. Start your unfair advantage on your server with LDCloud almost for free using my link in the description. You heard that right. They're also giving away free credits that you can use for their VIP service. Check the description for more details. One of the support classes as well, by the way, is the Biochemist. Biochem is widely used as a support class, at least based on my observations in PvP. They can break enemy gear while also protecting your party's equipment from being broken. They are very tanky, and they provide buffs to the party that increase defense, which is extremely valuable for a fully competitive party. Although Biochemist also has a DPS build, it's not used as much compared to its support role. For High Wizard and Professor, the Magic DPS classes, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of magic builds. However, based on my observations, only a few players use these classes, at least until the developers optimize their builds and skill cooldowns. I heard the casting time of these bolts will be reduced from 0.4 to 0.2 seconds in the future, allowing them to spam more bolt attacks against enemies. I'm keeping an eye to this update, so stay tuned. High Wizards, on the other hand, are true AoE DPS classes with high damage output. So, if you want to wipe out an entire party, this class might be the perfect fit for you. Mastersmith is another melee class that specializes in burst damage. They mainly use the Axe Boomerang build, which deals very high damage and is relatively easy to build. This is because you don't have to choose between investing in physical damage or critical damage percentage. The build mainly scales with physical damage and physical attack, making it much easier to optimize. Based on my observations, this is one of the best DPS classes to have in a party lineup. Snipers are the best choice for those who hate being on the front line but still want to deal massive damage from a distance if built correctly. In my opinion, this class can deal damage on par with Assassin Cross with the right build. However, since it's a ranged class, it's very squishy once enemies get close to you. That's why it's important to have extremely high damage output so you can eliminate enemies before they reach you. One of the best things about this class is the Detect skill, which provides area detection against enemies who are invisible. Next are the Assassin Cross and Stalker, which are both DPS classes. These classes are excellent for players who enjoy doing solo dailies. They can also perform well independently in PvP because they can hide on the battlefield and wait for the perfect moment to strike their opponents. In PvP, these classes require minimal support since they can operate on their own while hidden. Support classes can't easily follow them wherever they go because they are invisible and are usually focused on assassinating key targets. However, in dungeon runs and PvE content, these classes need support from tanks because they are quite squishy. They need someone who can take the aggro away from them. Overall, this is definitely one of the best choices for players who enjoy a more solo playstyle. Although, right now, I rarely see players using Stalker. I placed this class here because I believe it will shine in the late game, especially since the developers are working on new builds with the upcoming Season 3 gears. The Paladin class is currently the meta class, especially the Sacrifice build. Since it's built around having high HP, this class can do almost everything. It can deal massive damage per hit, move quickly thanks to its Peko Peko, withstand damage because of its defensive capabilities, and has a massive HP pool. The downside is that it's a single target class, so you'll have to bonk enemies one by one. However, this makes it a perfect starting class if you want a simple and straightforward gameplay experience. These are my class overviews, and again, they are purely based on my personal opinion and observations from my current server. Every class has its own advantages and strengths. What truly matters is how you build and optimize them. If you want to see more build guides and build experiments, I cover them here on my channel. Hit that subscribe button and check out my latest build guide here.